Welcome to DEFCON 3. I'm KT McFarland. Tensions are on the rise along the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. South Korea is warning the United States that North Korea is likely to launch, quote, provocations, quote, if Seoul does not meet a Saturday deadline to cease propaganda broadcasts. This is leading us to concerns that Kim Jong Un may be trying to restart the Korean War. Here with reaction is Dr. Bruce Bennett with the RAND Corporation and Bruce Klingner from the Heritage Foundation. Let me turn to you first, Mr. Klingner. Do you think Kim Jong Un is trying to restart the Korean War?
No, I don't. But there are a number of elements that are in place right now which are cause for concern, danger of escalation. We have not only this threat, this declaration of a quasi-state of war. We've had increased North Korean military training right along the DMZ, and of course we had the exchange of gunfire yesterday, artillery fire. And that's coming amidst tensions from an earlier incident where North Korean infiltrators came into South Korea, planted a mine which maimed 2 South Korean soldiers, and South Korea has vowed to respond sternly. So there's the danger of escalation, perhaps even stumbling across a red line.
So, Dr. Bennett, the United States is on, our forces there are on alert, the North Korean forces are on alert, the South Korean forces are on alert. What is the possibility that, that we do stumble into some kind of conflict?
Well, the danger, as Bruce said now, is that the North will try something even more escalatory. They've tried 2 rounds of escalations, a landmine and then the artillery fire. They seem to be trying to deflect attention away from the South Korean President Park's visit to Beijing in early September because Kim Jong Un isn't going, which is a real anomaly for a major event in China, but also trying to prepare for a nuclear test in October. And they seem to be wanting to ratchet up the situation to justify to the Chinese that they actually have to carry off a nuclear test. And that could get dangerous if they do ratchet things up.
Well, Mr. Klingner, is this really just the North Koreans saying, hey, pay attention to me, you haven't paid attention to us in a long time, you're worried about China, you're worried about the Middle East, what about us?
There's a lot of that involved in North Korea. They habitually make threats, but the thing is, when people say they never carry out their threats, well, that's true until they do. In 2010, there were 2 attacks on South Korea, killing 50 South Korean sailors, Marines, and citizens. So we can't dismiss this out of hand. Not only do we have this more tense tactical level situation along the DMZ, but it's occurring amidst a very large annual U.S.-South Korean military exercise, which North Korea habitually will say is a prelude to invasion, it's a declaration of war, and would justify any kind of North Korean military attack on the South. So they've abrogated the armistice in years past. So there's the concern that given a greater South Korean intent to respond, they've changed the rules of engagement, making it more likely they will respond, that you have a situation where Kim Jong Un, who we know less about him than his father, perhaps he does things that his father would have known to stop short of, and then you have a response which he may not be expecting.
Dr. Bennett, I've been at the demilitarized zone a number of times. United States forces are right sandwiched between the North and South Korean forces. If something does escalate, even by accident, what happens to the United States forces there?
Well, there's some U.S. forces that would be so close that they would be engulfed in any particular conflict, hit with artillery fire or that sort of thing. Most of the U.S. forces are back further, but still not outside of artillery range. So very quickly we could have 20,000 or so Americans on the peninsula within artillery range being hit by the North Koreans to some extent. That would put the U.S. squarely in a war, and I don't think North Korea, as Bruce says, wants to go there. They know that if they get involved in a war with us, that would be disastrous for them. But they could make a mistake. This Kim Jong Un, he has made many bad decisions, and he seems to be indicating that he's not fully following the danger of the current situation.
You know, in poker there's an expression, I understand the odds, it's the stakes I don't like. So, Mr. Klingner, tell me, how likely do you think this is to escalate into a conflict?
Well, to use another poker analogy is in 2010 when the U.S. and South Korea were responding or considering response, I talked to senior U.S. commanders on the peninsula, and they said, even if we do a tactical response which we think is constrained, we have to be prepared to go all in. meaning that it could escalate to a much larger conflict. And that's always the danger, the uncertainty about what North Korea will do, and if they realize that perhaps this time they're going further than they should.
Thank you both very much, Dr. Bruce Bennett and Bruce Klingner. Check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm KT McFarland, and thanks for watching.